So we've got, first of all, bad news. Raymond can't make it, unfortunately. He's caught up in another meeting, I believe. This section is all online, the presenters. And so we've got, if you look at your programme, we've got Henry, Maria and Raymond. I think, in interest of time, do you think we could go on to Maria? Maria, could you give us 4 minutes on your project, please?
Right. So I just wanted to give a bit of an overview about the proof of concept project that we completed a few months ago. So this was co-funded by the Food Standards Agency and the STFC Food Network Plus. And it followed from a small project that we did initially in 2019, where we evaluated many different spectroscopy non-invasive methods for looking at the composition of honey. In that initial project, we focused more on botanical origin, so whether we could differentiate between the main monofloral and polyfloral honeys that are produced in the UK by UK beekeepers. And we saw that we have some nice results, some encouraging results, and especially with using the STFC facilities, so using special offset Raman spectroscopy at the RAL laboratory, which is a through container technology, so we didn't even need to take the honey out of the jar, if you like. So this gave us the idea to carry on, to complete the investigation by also looking at the issue of honey adulteration with sugar syrups. So this is something that has seen quite a lot of publicity. There are a lot of reports that a lot of the honeys on the market are possibly adulterated with cheap sugar syrups, which can come from other plant sources, such as sugar syrups from corn, from rice, sugar cane, and so on. So we used again the STFC facilities for the Raman spectroscopy. And also we introduced another methodology, which was based on DNA markers. So that was something that hasn't been shown before, whether we can actually isolate DNA from those highly processed sugar syrups, and whether we can identify the plant source where the sugar syrup comes from. So we developed these two methodologies. The one with the DNA markers was quite successful, particularly for rice syrups, and this is very important because it's a C3 sugar syrup, which with current technologies is not easily detected. And also we saw some good success with corn syrup. So from this type of syrups, we tested many different syrups on the market, and we saw that for the majority of them, we could actually isolate DNA from the syrups and identify it with very high sensitivity and specificity by using a qPCR methodology. Then we also the same types of honey. Again, just to stress that we only used UK-produced honeys because we knew the provenance and the purity of these honeys. And we simulated adulteration by spiking with sugar syrups. So the same honeys we also tested with the Raman, with the source equipment at the RAL laboratory. And we developed prediction models, which showed very good discriminant capacity to differentiate between the pure honey and the honey that has been spiked. And in addition, they could also differentiate between the type of syrup that had been added. So they could see differences between corn or sugar beet syrup or rice syrup. So that gives us, this is a very good basis for us to carry on with our research in the future. where we propose that due to the simplicity and the cost effectiveness of these methods, we can actually use them along the supply chain. So we want to introduce traceability in the honey market so that we can acquire and create a very comprehensive database of all different types of honey and a different stage of processing, so that we can see, we can select any honey on the market and actually give an answer whether it is a pure honey or it has been adulterated. So we hope to commercialize this method and offer it to the producers, the honey packers, and testing laboratories so that they can use it in the future.
Maria, thank you very much. Okay, Ramu, will you give us the update on your project? 4 minutes, please.
Thank you. Good evening, all. I'm Ramanjaneyulu, working with Center for Sustainable Agriculture. As part of this STFN project, we were trying to look at India, UK, how we can improve the organic bilateral trade. And we also try to look at organic certification systems in India and how they are impacting on the domestic market as well as the international market. India had a national certification system, which was under the Ministry of Commerce, but in 2003, India, as part of the international task force, led to created an harmonization with the international certification systems. But later on in 2020, there was a changes introduced where the harmonization and equivalence was removed, and the farmers and the entire supply chain was forced to follow the international certification system. So we moved from an equivalence to a compliance system, which created a problem. So that's one issue we tried to look at, and then had a workshop where we tried to understand the changes in the certification system and its impact on the trade potential. Well, there was a increasing trade happening from between India and UK, particularly on the organic food market. These changes in the organic certification systems have created a bigger block, and we are now trying to work with the Indian government to change the policies in terms of improvising the certification systems. Another important issue in this is India has two different kinds of systems. One is for domestic market, which is based on a participatory guarantee system. And in the international market, we use the NPOP system. So we are also trying to see if these two can be equalized, and from a participatory guarantee system, also farmers can move, because participatory guarantee system is a much simpler certification system. So that's one thing we are trying to look at.
Interest of people, can you just quickly explain PGS and NPOP?
Yes. So participatory guarantee system in India, since we have large number of small and marginal farmers, every farmer getting certification is extremely difficult because individual plots need to be verified. So India adopted a group certification system where a group of farmers can come together, and the group will get the certification, and individual members of the group gives guarantee for that's a group based certification system. We call it as internal control system. The same system is adopted in both the NPOP, which is the national program for organic production, which is for the international exports. Whereas the domestic market, which is called the participatory guarantee system, adopts the same model, same system of data management, and both follow the same set of standards. We call it as a national standards for organic production. So when there is the same set of standards, same way of organizing groups, and then same way of verification, so we were why there should not be an equivalence between Indian standards and the UK standards. Also, there is no equivalence. And within India, if there is a variance between the PGS and NPOP certification standards, it becomes too complicated for the farmers to adopt these practices. So we were trying to get a equivalence in these things. Third important area we try to look at is the data management. When we talk about traceability, we are only trying to look at tracing up to the farmers level. but the same data can be used for tracing the ecological footprints. It can also be used to trace the impact of the transition on our farmers. So if we can use the same data management system for multiple uses, so a data stack can be built and it can be used for multiple purposes. It saves money and it also saves a lot of time and energy. So the idea is how the PGS system can be used and the data can be put to multiple uses. So we try to pilot it and then try to look at based on the data how what are the ecological footprints of food, and also whether ecosystem services payments can be also be integrated, and based on the same certification system can we also give the payments. So either it's about carbon credits, it's about green credits which government of India has started introducing, and recently government of India also started talking about doing natural farming on a large scale. National Mission on Natural Farming is approved. We are trying to look at if this can be the model which can be adopted for the national certification system.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, so now we go to the next aspect of this. So I think, Maria, I'm going to start with you. Could you just briefly discuss with us, with your project, what went well and also what didn't go so well, please, for a couple of minutes?
Yeah, sure. So we were quite lucky with this project. We had really good partners. The STFC side, we established a really good collaboration with them. It had already begun in 2019 and we had the opportunity to carry on now. So that went really well. And the other aspect that also worked very well for the project and actually gave a lot of value to the project was our interaction with the FSA. So we were able to get a lot of information from them, a lot of insights. They steered us to the right direction. So we feel that due to this very close relationship that we created with both partners and sponsors, we were able to really get the best out of the project that we could.
Great, thank you very much.
So,
sorry.
I don't think I said about what didn't go well. So
yeah, please do. I jumped to.
The only thing I have to say, the only difficulty that I encountered was with the funding. I wasn't able to hire new people to work on the project because it doesn't pay for overheads. So that was my main issue. And I had to work with students who I could hire as casual workers or master's students or PhD students that I would pay part-time. So that was the only aspect of the project that created some challenges. I was fortunate again because I had good students that I could employ part-time that could work on this in this area. But if I didn't have these resources, then I think it would really make it difficult for me to deliver.
Okay, right. Thank you very much. I got it right this time. Thank you very much. Ramo, can you do the same thing, please? What went well and what didn't go so well?
In terms of engaging with the national certification team, it was not so well, but particularly with the Ministry of Commerce, because they were not very cooperative in terms of engaging for the harmonization which we discussed. So they were not open at all because there were a lot of allegations about data management issues and all. Second, access to data was very difficult. Particularly the traceability data was supposed to be open so that everybody can trace back, and the data was not open. So these two were very, very difficult. So we were trying to discuss how an open data policy can be brought in on these issues, particularly on the food systems.
Okay, thank you very much. Did you say, yeah, I don't think you said anything that went well. Could you? Come on, Roman, there must be. I know there was something that went well. Come on, give us a good example.
So in terms of other issues, in terms of engaging with the domestic systems and then other things were easier. So the issue was only with the Ministry of Commerce, which was looking at the export market. So while the purpose of the project, one of the objective was to look at how to ease the export market from India. We couldn't get through on that. But rest of the things, it was much easier. So there was a lot of cooperation. And then when the National Center for Organic Farming was trying to promote natural farming, many of the suggestions we gave were taken on board, and then now they are integrating those things. And similarly, when we looked at the climate change impacts and then building the ecological footprints, the National Research Center for Extension in Agriculture, so MANAGE, where we organized the workshop, has taken our recommendations on board, and then they are now trying to integrate it into the natural farming mission. So there were a lot of positives which has happened, but in terms of the harmonization within India also we couldn't do it, and between India and UK also we couldn't do it. I think I would say that's probably is something larger analysis we need to do about the complexity of this new initiative by the respective governments, and within India also the domestic and international certifications. I think that's something we need to still continue. Otherwise, it was a good experience.
Great, thank you very much. That's good. Good to hear. So I'm going to steal Peter's little sort of monologue of Maria. Imagine going back in time to beginning the project. Can you give us some examples of what you would do differently, what you would change?
I think I would try a bit harder to engage with bikers and importers. We did try a little bit, but then we decided it's actually better to work just with domestic producers, because we know that we're gonna receive pure product. But obviously it wasn't unexpected when we rolled the test for commercial UK honeys that have been produced by UK beekeepers. We didn't find anything really concerning, which is not surprising. So if we had included from the beginning the other type of honeys that are blended, they come from abroad, then maybe we could give a better indication about how the test works on imported honey. But that's the only thing that we would change, but hopefully in the future we'll have the chance to actually address this.
Great, thank you very much. So yeah, Ramu, we're going back in time to the beginning of your project. What would you do differently, Ramu?
This time we will make the Ministry of Commerce also partner in the project. Then it becomes much easier.
Okay, that's a good straight answer. Thank you very much. So we're going to go to Q&A. Can I just check how much longer we've got for Q&A?
We have got 5 minutes.
5 minutes for Q&A. Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say maybe a minute from what Ray was going to present, if that is okay. Because Ray was one of the panelists, and he couldn't.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he couldn't come. So I'll just
Oh,
explain.
yeah, sure. Sorry.
Sorry, I'll just explain in absence of one of the panelists. I think he did a really fantastic project with the Food Standards Agency, and where we had DEFRA as well involved in terms of traceability and transparency of the supply chain. And we came up with an idea of it's not a single sort of entity. When we are talking about traceability or transparency, there are two elements to look into. One is product level traceability. Another one is process level traceability, which is not so obvious in any of the literature that we read. So that was quite interesting. And then when we were working with different data sets, which were sitting with different government organizations, from Food Standards Agency to DEFRA to food business organizations as well, like the businesses as well, we could see the technicalities of how the data would be interacting or could be interacting. However, the challenge lies with the pragmatic approach of sharing the data. And I think this is the same thing with Ramu, if I've heard you correctly. When it comes to the data management, we understand the semantic and synthetic way of handling the data and the data interoperability. However, when it comes to pragmatic data interoperability, where the questions of trust and the data governance comes in, I think that's where we are stuck. And I think we need to do more, and we need to work more with social scientists as well. So, techno-scientific as well as socio-technical innovations should go hand in hand together. So I think that was one of the key messages that came out of the project that Ray, I, and there were others who were part of it, did as an umbrella of project under 21st century abattoirs, which started with Food Standards Agency coming to one of our conferences. So yeah, that's from Ray's side.
Thanks, Sanal. And that resonates with things Hugh Mortimer worked on with China as well. So if you know Hugh. So we've got about 3 minutes for Q&A. So can you see the questions online, or the questions online?
We don't have any questions.
No questions online. Any questions from the floor? Come on. I've got one. Right, Maria, it's for you. So I'm thinking back to 2014, the Food Expo at Milan. A lot of the Interpol people were going absolutely crazy about the honey, international crime, organized crime, and they were saying something must be done, something must be done, and that resonates with me from back then. You say you want to go forward, you say you want to commercialize it. Have you got any market analysis? I mean, how rich are you going to be?
That's a good question. I don't think it's our first thought is not making money. Obviously, it's just providing the people who are responsible with ensuring the food quality, food integrity, with robust methodologies so that they can actually do their job properly. And honey is an extremely variable and complicated product. And since 2014, there's not that much progress, I think, in terms of getting a clear picture of how much the adulteration is, how big a deal is it. There are definitely indications that is happening, but it's really hard to prove it. So for us, it's important to not just develop the methodologies, but create this traceability capability as well. So this from hive to home, this is what we're trying to ensure currently. So our future projects is going to concentrate on that. And if we are able to either provide the methodology to other companies or ourselves at Cranfield provide the testing capacity to external stakeholders, then that's definitely something that we will be looking into. But I haven't looked into I definitely know there is a lot of interest and a lot of need, great need for having those tests in place, but I haven't looked into how much money we might make.
Sorry, it's a flippant question, but it is a massive opportunity, and I think as you go forward,
I think there is quite a lot of opportunity, yes, and I'm also working on other food products, other high quality food products, both for quality, both for safety. I also want to mention another project which we just signed the contracts today, and this is it's an AAKTP, which again followed another small project that we got with the STFC that was in Kenya on food safety on honey, looking at detecting pesticides in honey. So for the next 2 years, we will be working to provide them with sensors that can actually give them an indication whether there is pesticide contamination in the honeys. So I think the area has a lot of potential.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Have I got time for one more question from the floor? There we go, Pete. Oh, no, Epi at the back.
Thank you very much. Maria, I think it's great what you're working on. Hopefully I will have a chat with you on it. But I think my question goes to Dr. Raman. You talked about the group certification. So regards to the group certification, how do you maintain a clear understanding on how the farmers, each of the farmers within the group are complying with whatever standards they've been assessed on? I'll also be interested in the carbon credit you talked about for the Indian market. So those are the two questions. Thank you.
Thank you. There are there are two levels of verification which happens. One, individual farmer maintains records, and within the group, the members, there will be a peer reviewing. The members visit the other farmers' fields and then verify the field and then the data. And there's an external agency identified, which is called as the Regional Council for Participatory Guarantee System. So the Regional Council takes the responsibility of the registered farmer groups to verify. So that's the second level of verification system which is introduced. So both together, after the Regional Council verifies the peer-reviewed data and also does the field verification, certification is issued. If there is any variance and if there is any major variance, so variances are also divided into two kinds. One is a minor variances where correction can be introduced, which are not essential but desirable. There is a non-negotiable variances, so which are not accepted. Then if one farmer is not following the guidelines, all the members will be, the group will be rejected, which means all members will lose their certification. So that's a system which is in operation here. Second, in terms of climate change, since this participatory guarantee system data or the organic certification data manages every plot-wise input use and the practices followed by the farmers, and it is also verified independently, the same data can be used for quantifying the ecological footprints and also quantifying the ecosystem services. Currently, these two are done by independent agencies, which requires farmers to manage the data independently. So there's a lot of duplication of data which is happening. So the idea is to bring them together and then use one data management system for all these, for both the purposes.
Right. Okay, thank you very much.
Do you have a follow-up?
Oh,
That's a big one.
quick, I'll get told off.
Just to ask a quick question. So the verifiers, how are they paid? Are they paid by your organization or by the government? Who empowers? So the people that verify.
Okay, in India, the system is there is a at the national level, there is a National Center for Organic Farming, which accredits different organizations. And so the organizations which are accredited are called regional councils. So when the farmers groups register themselves as a participatory guarantee system, so under participatory guarantee system certification, the regional council is the one which goes and verifies. So each group is allocated to one of the regional councils. So regional councils will have its own auditors who goes and verifies. And so they go and verify the field level data and then also farmers fields. Both they are verified and then certificate is issued.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much for that. And ladies and gentlemen, can we thank our speakers? Thank you very much.